Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show. It's your host, David McKeag, inside the ONN studios and Sue Online. ONNtv here, alongside Alex Parr and Justin Heichel, my co-host here today. Fellas, we got lots to talk about in today's show. We're going to talk about the NHL, the draft went down, signings, trades, and then we're also going to have some discussion about local football, local hockey, in terms of local hockey players getting, drafted and some undrafted as well. Then we have some NBA news as the NBA awards were just the other night as well, and also some Kawhi news. We got lots that we're going to jump into today, so we're going to jump right into it, fellas. Alex, I'm going to go to you first. The NHL Draft.
The NHL Draft.
Oh, Jack Hughes goes first.
Yep.
Kaapo Kakko goes second, as expected by most experts. I predicted a blockbuster trade potentially, but Jack Hughes, Kaapo Kakko. You have Kaapo Kakko, who people are saying are the most NHL-ready player in the draft, over Jack Hughes. What do you say?
I would say, if you listen to the podcast on Podbean, shout-outs to that, we talked about this topic as well, and Kakko showed at the World Championships that he can hang with the big boys. So you're going up against top NHL competition there. Sure, They're not playing in the playoffs, but look at Team Sweden, look at some of the big powerhouse teams, all filled with NHL talent, and Kakko played great. Hughes was projected to go first overall all year, and I don't think that ever really slid. He still got picked at first overall. Do we think his ceiling's higher? Let's revisit this after the first season that they play.
The overall draft, I'll say right now, I think the best team that had the best draft, I'll say Montreal. Cole Caulfield was a great pick. I'll say right now, just a fantastic pick. But I'm a big fan of Bowen Byram. Okay, and for Colorado to get Byram and stack an already pretty good defensively prospected defensive core in Colorado is pretty impressive. Justin.
Oh, they just keep building. I mean, the defensive core there only keeps getting better. I thought Sakic and the Colorado Avalanche had a fantastic draft. And just to touch on just the U.S. National Development Team, I believe, I think 7 picks in the first round, 17 total in the entire draft. So, I mean, that's a pretty impressive, and to have that many players drafted is fantastic.
Definitely. And now, at the draft, we had a lot of news happen, too, in terms of trades. We know someone named Kyle Dubas, who's a Sioux native, was on the floor with every GM, it seems like, especially with Dave Pohle of the Nashville Predators. But Nashville decides to make a move sending PK Subban to the New Jersey Devils. They get 2 second-round picks and 2 players, Stantini and Davies, in that trade. They also have Patrick Marleau. Toronto does get a moving with Patrick Marleau going over to the Carolina Hurricanes for a conditional first, which is lottery protected this year. And then you had a 7th going over back to Carolina with a 6th coming over to Toronto in that as well. You had JT Miller getting traded to the Vancouver Canucks as well. And at the end of the day, the trades that happened in terms of Toronto's end was cap dumping. Nashville's was cap dumping. Nashville jumped on the Subban trade because $9 million all went to New Jersey. They didn't have to eat up anything of that.
The only time a player with a cap hit of more than $9 million has been traded was PK Subban twice. It's the only time it's happened. So I don't know if that says anything about him in the locker room. A lot of people want to say, he's not really the best in the locker rooms. He wants to make it all about himself. I don't really know if it's about that. I think he just markets himself really well. He's a personality. He's somebody you pay your money to go buy a ticket and go watch. You want to see him do the big celebrations. You want to see him go nuts. I think Nashville probably could have got more if their back wasn't so against the wall and they didn't have to make the move. 2 second-round picks for a Norris Trophy candidate almost perennially, aside from his bad year last year, which I know because I had him in fantasy, which was, of course, I had to have him last year. But Subban, I think he's going to bounce back. I feel like it's hard to say he won't, but like I said, time will tell.
Like you just said, he didn't have the best season last year compared to his 59 points when he went down to 31 points last season. And when you go to New Jersey, you're going to be the guy who's the number 1 guy in New Jersey. He's taking over in New Jersey right now. And New Jersey's setting themselves up for some pretty good future in terms of having Nico Hischier, you have Jack Hughes, Taylor Hall, if you can convince him to stay when his term runs out. But just overall, New Jersey is growing, and the Rock is getting bigger inside the Prudential Center in New Jersey. Justin.
Oh, 100%. And I think just to touch on the Subban trade a little bit with New Jersey, I think it gives them that social media presence.
Yeah, the traffic.
Exactly, the interaction with fans that New Jersey's been missing. I mean, David Putty from Seinfeld, fantastic. Everyone loves to see him coming out to the games, but there's the New Jersey Devils have kind of had trouble breaching into that younger generation, building that the fan core up.
Yeah. Now you had Toronto, who I was saying Marleau gets traded, big, lovable guy in the locker room. Heartfelt messages from both Matthews Marner and also with Patrick Marleau sending a heartfelt message to Toronto. The cap dump going over to Carolina. If he stays, it's unlikely. I believe he's going to be bought now and get sent to free agency, where he probably will sign in San Jose, most likely for a hometown discount, as they would say. But Kapanen and Andreas Johnsson are able to get signed now. Apparently, it hasn't been official, but we're looking at 3.2 for Kapanen and 3.4 for Andreas Johnsson. And you move out Marleau to be able to re-sign those guys. But now with the cap only at $81 million, the Leafs still only have just under $10 million to play with without moving Zaitsev yet. And Marner's still not signed. And I'm afraid that he might get offer sheeted. And if you're a Leaf fan, it's almost time to start hitting the panic button, because they might force Toronto's hand pretty soon.
I think this is just regurgitating the same story at the same time. Marner offer sheets. Oh, what are the Leafs going to do? They've got the best staff that knows what they're doing with every single cent with that salary cap. Will Marner look at offer sheets? I feel like we're in a league now where players deserve to get paid what they're worth. And if you're not going to proactively go and look, you're not doing the best for yourself, and you as an agent aren't doing the best for your client. Let Marner talk, see what's going on. Let's see what he can garner. But if Marner leaves, he will be one of the most hated ex-Leafs of all time. He grew up as a Leafs fan. I don't see him leaving this team.
Then you have John Tavares going there with the promise that you're going to have someone with a playmaking ability like Mitch Marner had, right? And Matthews signing the big deal they did, Tavares, Nylander, you have that situation going on there, and Kadri's on the rumor mill too. Dubas is not done. He might be the busiest general manager in hockey this offseason. Kyle Dubas will be. Along with, there's some other GMs that are going to be around the same field. Obviously, David Pohle is going to be as well with the Nashville Predators. But, overall, the Leafs are in the right position to try to re-sign Mitch Marner, and I believe that they'll get it done as well. But some other moves that happened in the National Hockey League happened today. Carl Soderberg gets traded to the Arizona Coyotes for Kevin Connaughton and a third-round pick. So Soderberg, who was a former Bruin, now ends up in Arizona. And William Karlsson, who had a massive year with Vegas in their first year, over 40 goals, signs an 8-year, $47.2 million contract extension, only $5.9 million. And he signs a contract. And he got Stone with 9. You have all these different areas. Oh, that is a steal. That's a hometown discount. He wants to be in Vegas.
If he can keep scoring 60 points a season, that's a good deal. Yes. I wouldn't call $6 million for 60 points a steal. I'd say that's about a market value.
It definitely is. Now, William Karlsson, will he get the same numbers? We'll see. But there's also another Vegas Golden Knight who we're waiting for, might drop off. Colin Miller. Friend of mine, Colin Miller. We'll see what's going to happen to him this summer if he stays or he goes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got part 2 of tonight's show. Don't go anywhere. That's why I went to you. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show inside ONNtv studios and Soo Online. Dave McKagan alongside Alex Parr and Justin Heichel. Fellas, jumping into part 2 of today's show, we have some basketball discussion to jump into. The NBA awards happened last night. We had Pascal Siakam getting the most improved player. More love for the Raptors. Giannis Antetokounmpo getting MVP, the Greek freak, getting a well-deserved MVP. I think that was a pretty obvious choice to go with Giannis for that. And then even if you want to go outside the awards, you had Nick Nurse is named to the Canadian basketball team for FIBA. Nick Nurse. And at the end of the day, basketball is hitting news heavy, especially a lot of it's relevant in Canada with the Raptors getting a lot of love. So Siakam, well-deserving for best defensive player in the NBA this year. Most improved, sorry.
Yes.
Most improved.
Good catch there.
Yes.
I think it was a no-brainer since the beginning of this. Well, not the beginning of the season. Once we started seeing how Siakam became one of their go-to guys, Nick Nurse put so much trust into him.
Yes, he did.
Since the start of the season, and I think it was just so obvious. The NBA put on their Facebook top highlights of Siakam throughout the season. My goodness. What did that guy not do?
No, he was just spicy. Just spicy.
Ooh, too spicy.
Too spicy. Hey, the mangiato italiano. Hey, it's spicy.
But the last second blocks, the open 3 looks that he just drains every time. It had to be Siakam, absolutely.
And Giannis MVP, Justin. And the tears. You got to see the love and the emotion. That's what makes you love, because and I know I gave a lot of, let's say, negative feedback towards Kevin Durant on the Game Sports Show previously a couple years ago, but in terms of Giannis going up and showing that emotion, that is what you love. He loves to be there, giving tribute to his father and everything, right? That's why he loved the game. This is a guy that went 15th overall in the first round. People forget the rumor that the Raptors were actually rumored to trade for that pick to draft him. Okay, not to really throw any wound in that, but Giannis, MVP, Justin. There's no one else I think deserving.
Oh, 100%. I mean, he worked all season.
Yes. He was the Bucks.
I mean, to me, it came down to him playing. He played more than Kawhi did, and that was basically the deciding factor for me.
Yeah, and I think Kawhi not even being nominated was the right way to go. It was Harden and Paul George as the other two nominees.
Harden, and when you have Harden, he's obviously the guy you think of when you think of the Rockets. So when you think of the Bucks, you're thinking of Giannis, okay? And without Giannis, the Bucks are not the team that they are, which defines, it's the same way if you want to relate to hockey with Connor McDavid. Okay, the Oilers would not be where they are without McDavid. I don't even know off the top of my head how many wins the Oilers had this year.
I don't think the Oilers fans want to know that number.
I can imagine what they would have had without McDavid. I know some Oilers fans right now might be like, oh, well, we were this way. Okay, I'm just saying overall in an 82-game season, you would struggle. The point of that is you have an MVP, and that's what definition of that is, and Giannis is that.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of people were not mad, but kind of upset at the fact that Harden didn't win. He had one of the best offensive seasons in NBA history.
Yep.
But if we're talking about value to a team, it's got to be Antetokounmpo. They finished first in the league best record, best player on the team, no-brainer.
Definitely. Now, Kawhi Leonard. We're going to change this from the awards. You can check out the list of the NBA awards on the NBA website for that. But Kawhi Leonard having a meeting with the LA Clippers July 2nd. Now, Raptors fans, take a breath. Take a breather. It's fine. I know we're Toronto people. I'm not panicking. You're panicking. You get my hair in the voice.
No, I'm not.
I'm not panicking at all. It's just kind of hot in here right now. It's a little hot. It must be Justin's shirt. I'm just saying. Kawhi Leonard. I'm very confident he's going to stay in Toronto, Justin. I'm very confident he's going to because of what they can offer, what they did for him. And he's just going to that meeting because he's going to give the opportunity because he narrowed down his options and he's going to give the Clippers a chance to give their pitch.
Well, I don't see him not playing anywhere but Toronto after the way this season's gone. And maybe I'm blinded right now by the fandom and everything going on with the championship. But between the medical staff taking care of him, the trust with the coach, just the rapport he's built with his own teammates, I don't see him wanting to go somewhere and start again.
Why? And I said this, and I said that I would mention it on air, that the LA Clippers are not going to win a championship. Yes, I know Kawhi Leonard is a game changer. We've seen it in Toronto, but he did have a good supporting cast in Toronto too. He missed a lot of games in the year. And when you have Kyle Lowry, you have Siakam, most improved player, you have a good balance. Kawhi is Toronto, though. I'm just saying, if it wasn't for Kawhi, I know we wouldn't be there. But I'm saying that LA is a different team. Kawhi would be the only guy. Okay, a lot of it would be very heavy on him, and I think that right now in his age, he's at the prime to win, and I think the Raptors have a better chance to win now.
The one thing that I think the consensus is sort of, let Kawhi talk to the Clippers. I think that's what he's allowed to do. Can Toronto media decide that, oh, wait a minute, if Kawhi can talk to the Clippers and we're not slamming the panic button over and over, why can't we apply that same thought process to Mitch Marner? But I digress.
No, Mitch Marner. He stay or go. No, but anyways, this was either way the best season in Raptors history. So let's just enjoy that. Now, the one thing I wanted to get to before we go to our next break is local discussion.
Ooh.
Quick transition from NBA. Going into arenas in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. We've talked about this to exhaustion on our radio portion. A lot of popularity with this topic. We know that the McMeekin Center is going to be going down. The plan is to get twin pads there, which has been something that we've discussed with so much on radio. And the West End Community Center there has so much potential to expand or be something. And the McMeekin is such a landmark in Sault, Ontario. But it's time for some new arenas. It's time for some new facilities to grow. And I think it's time that the Sault Thunderbirds move from the John Rhodes and they get into that new arena and they use the John Rhodes for the midgets. It's time to give the Thunderbirds their own rink. The midgets can have their own rink. The Bantam can utilize where the midgets are or where the Sault POE is. Or if you even want to utilize the Rankin, that we can start using the ice and giving it to the local program so we can maybe attract and help redevelop local hockey in Sault, Ontario.
Yeah, I believe it said over the next 2 years that we'll be finished paying off the John Road to make our last payment, I believe, next year as a city, and the year after that, so GFL. Coming in with this new rink, new 2 pads, I think you can't go wrong, especially they did their consultations and they did the right things to make sure that the money was there and it made sense. More rinks, more tournaments potentially, more money coming into the city, more people. Win.
And there's one thing that people really criticize is the GFL Memorial Gardens. All right, and I think it looks like a beautiful rink on the outside, okay, but I understand at the GFL, the seating, we were just a certain amount of seats away, now we can't get the Memorial Cup, or concerts, some big kind of things to attract, right? Okay, but we have the abilities to grow and try to enhance that or make that attractive. Yeah. We do. Justin, quickly, your comments about having an arena, maybe dedicated, split it up the teams.
I think it would just be nice for us to kind of have something middle of the road. The McMeekan's probably past its end of life. GFL might be a little too big for the Sioux Thunderbirds, but we need something, maybe bleachers on both sides. Obviously, we'd like to see another
bleachers on both sides, so critical.
Well, just to give them the fan atmosphere. I mean, there's something you'd like to have the players to have that professional feel to the rink.
It makes you want to definitely be a part of it, especially for your hometown boy. Having that, just so much pride. Dave McKeag alongside Alec Parr, Justin Heichel here with the Game Sports Show at Sioux Online ONNtv. We're going to take our second break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Twin Twos only local regional national sports show. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Dave McKeag alongside Alex Parr, Justin Heichel. Get into part 3 of today's show inside Sioux Online ONNtv. For our second show with the Game Sports Show inside here. People didn't realize we had our debut show last week. Check that out. It was definitely action-packed.
Find it on YouTube.
Definitely on ONNTV's YouTube and also through Sioux Online and the Game Sports Show's Facebook page. But fellas, we're going to jump into part 3 of the show. We're going to go the local roundup. We talked about the arenas and the local kind of to transition us into this. We're going to transition back to the NHL draft of sorts with this, and that is with some players that got drafted. That are locally. No.
And some players that didn't.
And some that didn't. And there's one that we're very surprised of. No offense to the ones that didn't, but there's one that I know we talked about at length given his season. But to the ones that did get drafted, especially Nick Porco, Sioux native, got drafted by the Dallas Stars in the 5th round, 142nd overall in that draft. Nick Porco is, let's just say, well-deserving of that. And you know what? He had a really good season this year. And, he was really ready to go where he went. 4th, 5th round, he was around that area to go. Jake Laguerriere went as well with the Greyhounds. Okay, now he's drafted by Montreal. Kind of fitting, given the French name, as I tried to pronounce as best I can. For anyone in French Canadian out there, I apologize if I insulted anybody. But you had him get drafted to the Montreal Canadiens, and he went 5th round. And with him being inside Montreal now gives him that kind of that French presence with that last name. Right. But he's not from Quebec, okay? But he's got the presence where now he grew up also apparently a Habs fan. He had that background, so he's very excited about that. But players that didn't get drafted, Cole McKay.
That has
I was very upset about Cole McKay not getting drafted, but he did get an invite. Okay, he got an invite to Las Vegas Golden Knights camp. Along with Keegan Stevenson, also went undrafted. He gets an invite to the Vancouver Canucks. And Joe Carroll of the Sioux Greyhounds gets an invite, of course, to the Toronto Maple Leafs camp. You got to know that Dubas is going to give some love to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Surprised they didn't get to reach out to Cole. Maybe when we have Cole on the show in the near future, we can kind of put him on the spot to ask him. But him going to Vegas, I think, is a great fit. And how he went undrafted is so surprising, Alex.
Like I was saying before we came on, the fact I'm glad that Cole McKay did not get drafted. That is going to light a fire underneath him. That is going to tear up the OHL next season.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You could see everything coming together for him this season. It was really coming to him. He's putting himself in the right spots. He just knew what to do. And 1 year older in the OHL is a huge difference.
He has 60-plus points this year, and he played top 6 minutes. Like he played with good guys. He shows that he can play. And I don't know what scouts were missing or what was told, but from what we understand and what we know of Cole, great guy, great player in the locker room. Sioux native, grown. The fans love him here, and he's passionate about being a Greyhound. I'm excited to see what he can do this year. Justin, you also had Keegan Stevenson and Joe Carroll get invited. These players that get those undrafted, there's players that were signed this year. Justin Brazel, that had a great year. They did sign with the Leafs. You had Hodgeshell as well. You had a 4th rounder, Mac Hollowell, got drafted by the Leafs Leafs, who was a first-team All-Star in the OHL. Doesn't matter where or when you get drafted, but he hit the nail on the head with Cole, who's going to have a fire right up that rear end this year.
Well, and one of the things, and maybe it's a little bit of a joke here, but John Scott threw out a tweet this weekend and said, "Don't remember, you can still go undrafted and become the MVP of an All-Star game." So
that's very funny. I like that. John Scott, legend. All-Star, NHL All-Star legend.
And I do want to give a little bit of love to Nick Porco too. He came He came into the studio here, and we did a quick interview too. He was a great guy to talk to. And during the playoff series with the Saginaw Spirit and the Sioux Greyhounds, I was sitting next to the Saginaw GM. And anytime Porco got on the board or scored, you could hear the bench just a little bit louder than another goal, and you could hear the GM just that much more excited that Nick Porco put something on the board. So he must be loved in the locker room, and I wish him all the best.
Despite those who did or didn't get drafted, congratulations, especially the Sioux natives. Very, very excited for sure. We're going to move on from the NHL draft on that local side to jump into our famous In the Pocket segment, as heard on our Wednesday show from SportsCenter back in 2015 when we were first recording out of a phone. Yes, fun fact.
So
in the Pocket segment, we're going to talk about the local football recap, obviously, and of course, Jamie Antonello, Dustin Grondin, and Matt Primo, hosts of the Game Sports Show as well on the Wednesday edition, gave us full feedback in terms of the junior varsity SaberCats who played this weekend. The varsity had bye week. The junior SaberCats won 56-20 over Waterloo. The Cats were leading 28-20 at half. Okay, the Michael Nicoletta had 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing and 1 receiving, including a stellar highlight reel run for 97 yards. Ryan Burns has 121 yards on 14 carries and a touchdown. He had 242 yards, 11 completions. He had Carmen Caputo and Connor Ricci had a touchdown as well in the win. Defensively, again, were stellar, were the SaberCats. Nathan Karanen had 4 tackles. Jade Rosaya had 2 sacks. And all the Cats, the junior Cats, are now on bye week, and they are 5-0-1. They return to play against Hamilton, against the Hurricanes, at 2 o'clock on July 7th. As I mentioned, the varsity Cats will be back in action this upcoming Sunday at Superior Heights. So as Dustin mentioned last week, get out and support those Cats. They're undefeated, 4-0-1, as they hope to go 5-0-1 as well. They should be mainly undefeated, but they had a rain-out game. So they will have a 1 o'clock kickoff against Waterloo, so get out and support our Cats. Some love also for the Sioux Steelers. The Steelers fell to 2-3 last week, unfortunately, in the Northern Football Conference action. Sudbury had a 28-0 lead before Ron Kelly got the Steelers on the board and broke the goose egg with a fourth quarter touchdown. The Steelers return to action June 29th, which is this week as well, at home against the Oakville Longhorns. They kick off at Rocky DiPietro Field at 7 p.m. Junior varsity, the SaberCats, everything's looking hot. Justin, Alex?
It's it's an awesome season so far this year for local football across the board. I mean, not so much for the Sioux Steelers, but the SaberCats and the Junior Cats. I mean, excellent coaches out there and solid work from the players.
Definitely, very, very good coaching staff. And we're not being biased with Jamie.
No, we're not.
We're not. You got Jim Monaco. You got a lot of guys who are involved in that, and they won a championship there with the Cats. They've been wishing for it. They bugged the coaches. We have guests on our Wednesday show. They always bug Jamie to have a championship this year.
Right, and I went to one of the most recent Sioux Steelers. They had their ceremony because a couple of their guys got inducted into the NFC Hall of Fame. Congratulations to them. And you could see that they're excited about the youth coming up. The football here is really starting to get going again. There's really that excitement when it comes to the SaberCats, and hopefully it just keeps moving.
You got to go out and support these guys.
Yes.
Superior Heights, 1 o'clock, the Cats play against Waterloo, and you have the 29th, the Steelers. Go and support the Steelers as well. So that will wrap up our In the Pocket segment. Quick edition, which transitions us nicely to our show tomorrow from SportsCenter Bar and Grill. Going to get to the conclusion portion of the show. And to get to the first point, my thumbs up for the week. We're going to be doing thumbs up weekly here. Haley Wickenheiser getting into the nominations for the Hockey Hall of Fame. Haley Wickenheiser, Canadian female hockey legend, and just a great all-around person, especially with her involvement in the communities that she's involved with and just Canadian hockey. Her presence to female hockey athletes is just amazing. And our other shows this week, Wednesday, we're at SportsCenter 9 o'clock. Thursday, we're at Northern Superior Brewing Company at 6 o'clock. It'll be myself, Alex, and Justin on Thursday. We got the full cast Wednesday, Jamie and Matt and myself and possibly Justin on Wednesday. And we'll also have the Pilon twins interviewing on Thursday for North Superior Brewing Company. Make sure you follow The Game Sports Show on social media at thegamesportshow.com or through Instagram. And you can also check us out on YouTube along with Sue Online and ONNtv as well. Thanks to Justin and Alex for coming on by. And thanks to everyone here inside the ONNtv studios. And until tomorrow night from Sports Center Bar and Grill, this is the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show. Sign off. Wishing everybody a safe and happy long weekend. We will talk to you next time. Booyah.